Now, the reason I'm talking about the world through a radish is because I got screwed last night at a restaurant in San Francisco over a radish. And I want to explain to you how mean people have become and also how stupid they become. There's a place in the city called Tadish's Grill. It's on California Street. I've been in there once or twice in the 15 years I've lived here. I've always seen it as a tourist trap or for locals who don't know any better. But for some reason, after the show last night, I wandered over to the ice skating rink at Justin Herman Plaza, the artificial rink. I love to watch children skate. I like to see the family skate. It's a bit of Currier and Ives. And I left the minute they turned the crack music on. It was nice seeing the children getting excited before they went out on the ice. And the minute they fired up the music at 8 o'clock, I left because it was crack music and I couldn't take it. It wasn't Perry Como. It wasn't Bing Crosby. It wasn't Rudolph. It was nothing like that. It was crack music. It was horrible. And I ran away saying, I don't know who's in charge of this, but he ought to be put out to pasture. How can the people in the Hyatt put up with this garbage, this psychotic noise? So I walked down California Street in San Francisco. It's a beautiful avenue that runs all the way up the hill. And I often walk past Tadish's and look at the Schmendricks waiting online outside to get in. I guess they think it's real San Francisco. I was just in the mood for a quick meal and go home, after the show. Now, I've eaten there, as I say, once or twice. I go in, and usually there's a spot at the counter. Now, is there a spot at the counter while the Schmendricks are waiting for the table? Yes. Seat yourself. So I go all the way down the end, hoping that I get the same guy who once waited on me, who's actually a very nice guy who speaks Russian. The place features Eastern European waiters in short jackets, which could be a plus and a minus. They have the arrogance that old waiters used to have many years ago in New York, somehow thinking that by intimidating customers, they're going to be more compliant and give a bigger tip. It doesn't work with me. So, unfortunately, the guy I know wasn't there. And this guy comes up. I got a waiter. As I say, they specialize in Eastern European waiters in short jackets. I got a waiter who could have played a camp guard in Schindler's List. It was that type. See, with the Eastern Europeans, they're all very droll-looking. Now, some of them can be very nice, but I got one, as I said, who could have played a camp guard in Treblinka. So he didn't know me. I didn't know him. And I said to him, what fish is fresh tonight? Which fish is fresh tonight? He says, all. I said, well, that's not true because I've eaten here before and I had to send it back. All. So the waiter I knew comes whistling over. How are you, Mr. Savage? Fine. What fish is fresh? He says, well, you like the halibut. I said, sure. He said, well, your friend here told me they're all fresh. I guess I started out on the wrong foot with Mr. Treblinka because the friendly waiter, brings the fish over for me to smell before ordering the fish to be cooked. And I did an Aunt Beulah on it and smelled it. I said, very good, it's only 2 days old, which, of course, is as fresh as you're going to get in a seafood restaurant. You understand that. No problem. How you going to cook it? Charcoal broil, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now Treblinka comes back. Would you like to drink? Yes, get me a Heineken. I figured I'd placate him by ordering a Heineken. I was going to order a local beer, but I figured if I went for Heineken, it was somehow closer to whatever home country he may have come from, may have reminded him of years, stuffing ovens or whatever they did over there. And then this and that. So I said, okay, and the woman next to me is having a salad. So I'll have a small salad, da-da-da-da-da, and also on a side of mushrooms. He brings the salad about 30 minutes later. The greens were as limp as the mayor of San Francisco on a good day. There was a slice of tomato that was stale, and there was no radish in it. Now, the thing is I wanted a radish. Do you ever get a jag where you wanted something? Well, I particularly want a radish because I'm on a high copper diet right now. I'll tell you more about that later. I'm trying to eat foods rich in copper for cholesterol control, and I happen to know that radishes have copper in them. I said, there's no radish in the salad. He says to me, that doesn't come in the small salad. I said, well, what's that? That's a big salad. So I looked him in the eye, and I said, charge me. All right. So I eat the fish, it's $36. I don't know what it was, $36. I don't know what, I didn't care. It was pretty good. Then I ate the mushrooms, which are fantastic. Love them. The bill comes, and I see he added garnish on the side garnish, $4.50 for a radish. I said, okay. I told him to charge me for it, and he did. Now, in my old days, I would have taken it out of his tip. It would have been a straight 20% less what he charged me for the radish. It wasn't the cost of the radish. It was the idea that this guy would do this. But I didn't. I gave him, sufficient tip and left. But that's the story of what's going on in restaurants in San Francisco. Either they're getting desperate or mean. But the fact of the matter is I never eat in tourist traps, and I never will again. That's the world through a radish. I mean, my conversation of the world through a radish is far better than what I've been hearing. I've never heard anything like it. It was not a bad shtick, Eastern European waiters in short jackets, and I got Treblinka. Unbelievable. I ate only a little bit of the potato and a little of the fish. I had such a reaction. My anxiety level was so high between Treblinka, the waiter, the cougher next to me, you know what I mean, and the $5 radish. I had to get out of there.